How many people here play chess? Okay, I'll rephrase that. How many people here know the rules of chess? That's more like it. Here?
You play drafts instead.
Here's my chessboard. Now, about 200 years ago, a challenge was set to the chess world, and it became known as the Knight's Tour. Okay? Those of you that play chess will know of the chess piece called the Knight. Yeah? Some of you may know it as the horsey. Still with me? Okay, now the horsey has a very non-standard move in chess. It's the only piece that does not move in a straight line, and it's also the only piece that can jump over other pieces. And it has this L-shaped move. I'll give you a clue. This knight on d5 can go up 2 and across 1 to c7. Yeah? It can go across 2 and down 1 to f4. Or we could go down 2 and across 1 to c3. Do you understand that? You see the little L shape? Right, that's the knight move. Now the Knight's Tour is very easy to describe, but considerably more difficult to execute. The idea is that you start on any square on the board, and in 63 moves only, you have to visit every other square on the board once. Try to imagine for a second how you would fit 64 L shapes onto that board. It's a bitch. After 3 weeks of it, my head hurts just thinking about it. I'm going to attempt a Knight's Tour to you. I'm going to try a Knight's Tour for you tonight. But I'm going to do it slightly differently. I'm not going to look at the board. I'm going to have my back to the board. I'm probably going to be looking down at the ground with my eyes screwed up in concentration, because I have to not only keep track of where I have been, but I have to keep track of where I am going. Okay? Now, if I go wrong, if I get to a point where I do not have a legal move, and I'm stuck, I have lost. And Paul, I will give you £10. Okay, he's smiling now. Paul is now praying that in the next 6 or 7 minutes I have an aneurysm. Paul, I've failed twice this run. I've lost, yes. And I've given £10 to the person. Yes. So I'm not kidding here. This is yours if I go wrong. Okay. Who knows chess? Who understands chess? We've got a few people. Emily, do you understand left, right, up and down?
Yeah, but not close.
That's good enough. Can you have a huge round of applause for Emily, please? And it's got to be Colin. Colin, do you understand chess? Well, come on up anyway. Got a round of applause for Colin. Yes, yes, yes. Right, Colin, just while Colin is busy getting his goggles on. There you go. How you doing, mate? Yours. Does anybody else know how to play chess? No, no, Colin, you're finding. Your job, Emily and Colin, is to keep track of the board for everybody else, okay? So, Colin, you've got E to H. Emily, you've got A to D. If I say a square, so if I say F6, Colin, I want you to take F6 out and place it in your hand. Okay? Do not try to turn it around and put it back in, because last weekend we had Paul who did that and he knocked the board over. Yes. So just hold them in your hands. Try to keep to the side as well, because if you do this, okay, Paul does not get the view he wanted. Or maybe he does get the view he wanted, I don't know, depending on which side of the board is in front. Okay, so you have to do that, guys. Excellent. Now, for my own record keeping, I like to do this against the clock. What's your name, sir? Ronnie. Ronnie, you are my timekeeper. Okay? Stopwatch, green button start, green button stop. When I say go, and only when I say go, press the green button. The time I'm trying to beat is 4 minutes 32 seconds. Okay, Paul, that's not for money, okay? What I'd like you to do, Ronnie, is call out excuse me, call out the minutes, so 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 4 minutes, so I know where I am.
Yeah.
Okay with that? Okay, right, we're nearly there. We need a starting square. So, lady there with the light top, what's your name? Roshi? Rasheen. I'm sorry, Rasheen. You're not going to miss that N off again. Rasheen, I need a letter A to H. I'll give you a clue. If you say T, you will look silly.
C.
C? Okay, and gentleman there, what's your name?
Rob.
Rob, number 1 to 8, give you a clue. 13 is not on the board.
3, please.
C3. What we're going to do with C3 is we're going to turn that around and just mark it. Okay? Now, there is obviously a strategy to this. The idea is you get the corners. Okay? If you come from the right angle, you get the corners, and there's a lovely little spiral action that you'll see when it happens. The difficult bit is getting across the cross in the middle. So we're going to try that now. Okay, so we're on C3. Okay. Ronnie, you ready?
Yep.
Emily, you ready?
Yep.
Colin, you ready?
Yep.
Okay, you want to take a step? Okay, you're fine. I'm not going to fight you. Okay, Ronnie, start the clock. Now, let's go up to A4, please, Emily. A4, and then let's jump down to B2. And from B2, let's go to D1. And then from D1, let's jump up to E3. And then from E3 to G4. And Colin, we're going to get the bottom right-hand corner. So let's go to H2. And then H2 to F1. And F1 to G3. And G3 to H1. H1, we need to go to F2. F2 to H3. And H3 to G1. That should be most of that corner. Am I right?
Yeah.
Am I right? Okay, great. Let's go to E2. And from E2, let's jump up to F4. F4, I need to go to, that would be D5. And then D5 across to, D5 to F6. Now F6, I need to go to H5. And I'm in the wrong angle to do that corner, so I'm going to go to the other side. Let's go to G7. And then G7 to E8. E8, I should be able to get to D6. And then from D6, I need to jump down to B5. And now I can do the top right-hand corner. So the top left-hand corner, I'm sorry. Let's go to A7. And then C8. And then down to B6. And up to A8. And then C7. And A6. And then B8. And I've missed B7, haven't I? Okay. Oh
Yes.
God, I'm going to have to go around the long way for that. Okay, from B8, let's go to D7. And then D7, let's go down to...
2 minutes.
Oh, God. D7 down to C5. And then C5 to E4. And from E4, I should get to D2, where I need to be. And then D2, let's go up to C4. Oh, A5, E5, A5, E5, 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 E5. Hang on, let's see where I'm going. No, I have to go to E. E5, please. E5, and then across to C6, and then to A5, and then to B7,
Yes.
and that's the corner.
Yeah.
Great, okay. Let's go to D8, please. D8, and then E6, and from E6 to G5. And now I can do from G5 to H7, H7 to F8, and F8 to G6, and then up to H8. And that would be F7, H6, and G8. And that's the top right-hand corner, pretty clear. Oh God, okay. E7. E7 to F5. F5 to D4. And then F3. And then from F3 to H4. Oh God. And then F4 to G2. G2 to E1. I'm running out now. E1 to C1 to D3. D3 to B4. B4, that should be my last corner, I think. B4 to A2. A2 to C1. And C1 to B3. And B3 to A1.
4 minutes.
Oh God. A1 to C2. C2. Oh God, what's free? What's free? A3. And I've got one more. One more. It's got to be B1. Yes! 4 minutes 18 seconds. Colin, have a seat. Emily, have a seat. Oh man, that's one of my best times for the final shot. I'm just going to do a dance.